Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to a slightly different sort of video because I'm going to be taking a look at something a little bit on the old side. I know you guys have asked for these older kits over and over again, so I decided it's about time to actually get back to some of them. So as of right now, there is no order whatsoever as to which ones I'm going to be taking a look at, so if you want to see something, drop it down there in the comments. If I come by it, I will review it, but I will not make any promises. But anyway, today I'm going to be taking a look at the high-grade Seravee Gundam GNHW. That stands for GN Heavy Weapons B, and of course this is from Gundam 00. So as you can see from the box right here, this is an older Gundam. This came out in 2009. That is why there is no English on the box whatsoever, so we're just gonna speed on by all of this quite quickly. Anyway, in here we've got a whole bunch of plastic and... hold on. What is that? It seems like this video right here would not have been possible without a sponsor. This video was sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. Raid has millions of players every month, over 100,000 members on their Discord, thousands of videos every week, and almost 40,000 members on Reddit. So if you want to be part of the largest community in mobile gaming, come check out Raid Shadow Legends. Raid has a huge player base, so you'll always find someone to PvP against, and if you're like me, lose pretty much every time. Raid has over 25 million downloads and over 1 million players play the game every day, with nearly 2 billion PvP battles and 10 billion PvE battles fought so far. There's nearly 1,000 videos posted a week on YouTube about Raid, so if you need guides, strategies, or materials to help you progress the game and champion your way through, then you're set. Raid also has an active Reddit community with over 35,000 fans and a huge Twitch community with over 56,000 streamers. Raid is always releasing new updates, and their biggest update ever is in development right now, the Doom Tower. It's 120 floors of super hard levels and even harder bosses. The Frost Spider, the Magma Dragon, the Tomb Crab, they all look badass. You'll need to build special teams and strategies to beat them. Make sure you're quick, as using my link in the description, every new player will get an exclusive welcome pack that contains 100,000 silver and a free epic champion, Jotun. Just look at this champion they're giving you for free. You'll find your extra rewards here in your inbox for the next 30 days only. So anyway, that right there is the high-grade Seravee Gundam GNHW. Out of the box, just snapped together with a little bit of extra effort. That little bit of extra effort, as usual, is just some panel lining. That is grey, black, and brown panel lining markers. Nothing special. As for the build, I actually thought it would be worse than it is. This isn't so bad. This, of course, is from 2009. The Seravee itself is from 2008, but it isn't really all that bad. First of all, it does look great. The fact that Seravee Gundam has so much weaponry on the mobile suit itself before we even get to what it can equip, that is so awesome. And there is no denying that that Gundam face round back, which of course is the Seraphim Gundam, is so cool and so iconic. However, there is some old school issues with this kit that I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of. That, of course, first off, is the color separation. It's not the greatest. We're missing a lot of grey here and there, for example, up on the shoulders like you're seeing right now. But the biggest one of all that really kills me are the pair of GN cannons on the hips. The internal structure of these is meant to be in yellow, just like we see with the internal segment of the GN Bazooka 2, but they are not, and that is so painfully obvious. Besides that though, the color separation is pretty much okay. I had also forgotten that these older, high-grade 00 kits have this very odd way of doing clear parts with foils underneath. So instead of having the clear parts color correct, for example, the GN cannons up top have green, and that part in the central section of the V-fin. So instead of having those the color they're meant to be, which is clear red on the V-fin, clear green inside of the cannons, we've got colored stickers with just colorless clear on top. In the manual we do see actual colored parts, so that would have been nice to, well, to actually get. This is easy enough to do, just get some Tamiya clear paint, paint it over them, but there's something so cheap looking about that. And one thing that I never noticed back then, I guess, well, you couldn't comparatively know something that hadn't happened yet, but the stickers don't seem as good as they are now. The stickers that affix onto the eyes of the Seravee itself, and to a greater extent the stickers on the Seraphim head round back, they're not great. And the Seraphim ones don't really fit the area very well at all. As for the stickers with this kit, we do get quite a few in here, and we don't get all we need to cover up all the color inaccuracies, but once again, it's not the worst, and still a pretty damn good looking kit right here. So of course, first up right there, which is that is for the eyes. E right there, the red one, and that is up there under the clear part on the V-fin. The green ones, which are up on those big old shoulder GN cannons. Which are those circles. Those are on the GN condensers inside of the arms right there under the clear parts, which I've realized I put them backwards. Time to fix that. Oh, right here. That was meant to go in the head camera looking section behind the V-fin of the Seraphim chest there, but somehow I forgot. That is the Seraphim's eyes. Close that up until later. And finally, that complete load of yellow ones right there. Looks pretty bad on the sticker sheet, but those are actually all tucked away inside of these GN field enhancement units on the shoulders and the sides of the legs, so most of the time, you will not be seeing those. So yeah, basically to sum this thing up aesthetically, it does look quite good once again, considering its age. But if you want this to look perfect, you're really gonna have to reach out, grab some paints, and fix a lot of those tiny issues, but on the whole, the mold is nice, not as sharp as a modern kit, and hey, it's actually better looking than I thought it would be. So anyway, moving now onto the accessories, and here's the Seravee Gundam GNHW with absolutely everything that it comes with. So essentially this kit right here is the standard version of Seravee. We do get all the runners to make it as the standard variant, just with some extra armaments. So in here we have both parts of the GN Bazooka 2, the GN B machine gun, a little rectangle for closing up the butthole, and these little segments right here which are actually for using with the sold separately high-grade Seraphim Gundam. Which to me I have to say is a bit of a surprise because it looks like to me that we've got, well, the vast majority of it back here already, but hey, I did actually get one of those as well, so if you do want to keep seeing these older Gunpla reviews, then make sure to hit that like button, let me know that you want to keep seeing content about older kits like this one right here. So the first of the equipment in here is the GNB machine gun. Now this is more so for using with the Seraphim Gundam, but there is no Seraphim Gundam in here, so I guess we're just going to use it with Seravee itself. This is your standard generic beam rifle. It's just two pieces of plastic wedged together with a separate barrel. We do have a nice clear section in light blue inside of that, so on the whole it's pretty cool. Seravee does not come with any special hands, just the standard holding type, so it just slots in like so. So just in case Seravee right here did not have enough weapons already, that is what it looks like attached into the hand. Next up then in here is the main event itself, which is the GN Bazooka 2. So this is very nice looking, and just like with the rest of the kit, there are some very prominent knobs you may have to be very careful with while cleaning it up. Besides that though, this is one awesome big bulky weapon. The clear parts in here are colorless. They should technically be green, but because they're colorless, you can paint them whatever color you want, which is always a bonus. And this can be either in the double mode like this, or split apart into the single modes. So there is the Seravee Gundam equipped with both parts separately, and there's an example of the Seravee equipped with it combined together. I'll also mention that there is a sliding gimmick inside of the barrel, so it can be wide open like this, or slide closed like this right here. Either way, this is one big badass weapon that just looks awesome. Next up in here we've got the butthole closer, and that is exactly what you'd expect. That just pops on there and hides Seravee's shame. That is actually a pretty cool extra to be able to hide the action base hole. And besides all of that equipable stuff we've just seen, Seravee does have a bunch of extra armaments on board. Of course, that is the GN cannons up top. Those can move around quite a bit. The GN cannons on the sides, which are part of the heavy weapon equipment, they can slide down as well. Can be a little bit, if not a lot of bit, awkward to get those to open up. They look something like that while open. Also, these are somewhat always awkwardly facing forward, so they are a bit annoying when you're trying to do some poses, or when you're just trying to get the GN cannons on the knees out. These flip out just like they would have done with the standard version of Seravee, and it goes without saying, if you want a Gundam with tons of armaments on board, Seravee Gundam is your go-to Gundam. So moving on to the articulation, and first off, I want to get rid of the old Seraphim back here. So what that has is some arms up top, some leg thrusters down bottom, and let's purge that out of there. So unlike the 1/100 scale version of this particular Gundam, this does not transform out of box. You actually need to buy the sold separately version. It can still do that pretty awesome Gundam face thing where the Gundam face pops down like this, so that is cool. But besides that, there's just some little bits of thruster movement on ball joints down here. What would be the arms in the full variant, but besides that, it doesn't do a whole lot. Now back to Seravee, the neck is your standard giggity 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 goo double ball joint polycap that we've seen for many, many years. So as for the motion we get from that, there's the head all the way down, very nice, all the way up, it's okay. Side to side pivot, and it can spin all the way around. The shoulders are your typical polycaps, they are orientated towards the front, just like so. So that means it can move its arms slightly forward and back, not a whole lot. That is a ball joint then in there. This is as high as it can raise its arm up, but we've got the full rotation inside of that. I mean, as well as that, not inside of anything. The arm is affixed into the shoulder, so it can only move inside the shoulder armor. We've got that full 360-degree spin there. This new section up in the shoulder that can spin all the way around. All of these can pop out for some extra GN power. The elbow joint on here is double jointed, a tiny little first bend, which is that one, and then this larger second bend right here. So the whole thing is pretty damn good, I should say. Down at the forearm then we've got that little extra, what I can only call a wrist elbow. So it's just like an elbow, but it's down at the wrist. And we also have a standard ball joint right here, which is a little bit on the loose side. So this isn't really strong enough to hold the GN bazooka on its own. Moving to the torso now, and this is the old school double polycap. What I mean by that is there's a polycap there, pull that off, and there's a polycap ball under that. So we've got two polycap balls that make up the ab crunch, and you don't get a whole lot out of it, honestly. So what we get is that to the front, that to the back, not a whole lot, but then again, not so bad for a big old chunky Gundam like this. The way these GN cannons are attached onto the side skirt is pretty bad, honestly. It's just a ball joint, so you don't get much movement out of that. And they always seem... Nice one, Seravee. Get back on there. But yeah, they always seem to be kind of in the way a little bit. Once again, all guns. Movement, I guess, wasn't a priority. Seravee does not have any skirting armor, so all we get from the kicks is that up to the front. Again, not so bad for a chunky Gundam. There it is out to the back. Once again, I'll mention this is an old school, very polycap build, and I mean very polycap. I mean, this kit came with a lot of polycaps and used next to every single one of them, so there is a bit of a springy, almost kind of soft feeling to the whole kit in general. And did someone say ball joint hips? So yes, we've got ball joint hips in here, which isn't the worst. But what is definitely a disappointment is the fact that the upper leg here is not separated with a rotation mechanism, so you don't get a whole lot out of these legs. Inside the waist you do have a bit of forward and back, but no splits and no leg rotation. The bend at the knee is double jointed but quite basic. That is all we get, just a little beyond 90 degrees. The GN cannons in the knees have two polycap points of movement. That's that one here, that one there. Not a whole lot, but it can shoot around like so. Just can't turn side to side. A somewhat basic ankle in here, we've got a ball joint up top, a peg in a polycap down bottom with a little bit of pivot. As for what this can do on the ground, there it is all the way to the back, not a lot. There it is all the way to the front, again, not a lot. And there it is side to side, and that isn't the worst. The foot can't move at all, so there's nothing there, but hey, this is Seravee we're talking about. This right here is a mobile suit that just kind of stands or floats there and shoots a whole lot of guns. So you don't expect it to be able to do yoga, you don't expect it to be able to do massive lunges or crunches, so you can kind of forgive it for not being able to do a lot. But if you like your kits able to bust awesome poses, this may not be one for you. So anyway, that right there is it for the review, and I guess my ranking system here is going to be a little bit cruel to this kit because it is based on newer kits, modern high grades that have a whole lot of stuff this kit right here doesn't have. So that of course means this is bronze tier by modern standards. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad kit though. When it comes to gunpla, bronze tier model kits would be better than most other mecha model kits. You've seen pretty much everything I have to say about this kit so far, so I'm sure there's plenty of information there for you to make up your mind whether or not you want one of these of your own. If you love 00, I would say go for it. I prefer this kit personally to the 1100 Seravee that I used to have. The only thing I liked about that kit was the fact that the Seraphim could transform from its back. I actually kept the Seraphim part, did not keep the rest of the kit. So yeah, it's a fun, bulky little kit, but just not up to what you'd expect from gunpla in this day and age because it's not from this day and age. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to come back for more gunpla reviews. All my thanks to Raid for sponsoring this video, making this sort of content possible. If you do want to see more older gunpla reviews, hit that like button and let me know down in the comments so I know to make more. And as always, make sure to come back for more gunpla reviews. And I'll see you next time. Once again, I cannot finish this video right here without thanking each and every one of you guys. Whether you just watch my videos, like them, or support the channel on the channel memberships and over on Patreon. Like Craig Jerry, Greg Humphrey, Kaiser721, Tyler Sanders, Caleb Engelhardt, Sean T, and the ambassador for Asymmetric Cat.